Smitty did very well with this one. What is it? What is it? Is this Ronnie just easier to read, or is Smitty not playing fair?
Well, you always send me Ronnie's list.
Now I see. It's shenanigans. No, I'm pretty. I mean, well, one, we.
Hello, everyone. Welcome into the Players Meeting, a Win Dummies production. This is episode number 9. I got my boys with me, the one-time world champ, Chris Smith, a.k.a. Smitty, and the Step Putt Master, Mr. Ronnie Unruh. Gentlemen, are you excited for tonight?
Looking forward to it, as per the usual.
Always.
Every single episode, it's going to be a good one. And tonight, we're going to discuss Jonesboro, all the storylines there from the weekend. We're going to make our picks for the Music City Open, talk top 5 holes at Jonesboro, and we even have a courtesy violation, a question coming in that we're going to take a look at. We'll also do the Wheel of Debate. I can't wait. So let's jump into the action. We're going to start where we always start. What's poppin'? What's been happening around the world of disc golf? And of course, we have Jonesboro. All right, boys, Jonesboro was a treat. Let's just kind of jump into the action and talk round 1. Kristin Tattar jumped out to a quick lead, shooting a 10 down, 1044 rated. Evelina, after one round, in second place, already 6 strokes back. On the men's side, AB and my boy Kevin Kiefer went 11 down, 1075 rated for both of them. And you have Conrad and Wysocki in third, but there's a whole slew of others also in third at 9 down was Callaway, Heimberg, the Bazooka, and Jakob. So things were tight early. Moving into the second round, Kristin Tattar kept her 6-stroke cushion, but not to Evelina because Holland Hanley went 10 down to jump into second place on the strength of a 1026 rated round. That should be on Holland and not Kristin. You know, we make mistakes. Let's look at the men's side. Kiefer struggled a bit, fell out of the pace, and then someone reminded Isaac Robinson that he was the defending world champion, and that dude finally went crazy. 1076 rated, 11 down to tie it up with AB at the top, and Vinny just 1 stroke off the lead. Round 3, final round. And you know, Kristin Tattar cruised, shooting only 4 down, but still winning by 9. And then the men treated us to another down to the wire classic. Anthony Barella was able to go 6 down in the last 6 holes to earn the 1-stroke victory, once again being able to lay up and be crowned champion. In a 3-way tie for second, we had Ezra Aderhold, we had Ben Callaway, and Calvin Heimberg. Simon rounded up the top 5, so it's good to see him back. There he is. Hey, Simon. And he finished 2 strokes off the pace. So it was a good weekend. Lots of storylines out there. One of the big stories was kind of a new course, but not new, like a restructuring of things. Tell me what you guys thought of the course.
I was skeptical. I'd always loved the way Jonesboro ended with 16, 17, and 18, 16 being the 5 par, around the dog leg, par 4, 17th, and then obviously hole 18 was the long downhill par 4 that gave everybody fits. You could make anywhere from a 3 to double digits on that hole. So I was skeptical of the reshuffle, but man, it's kind of hard to argue with the way things played out. We had incredible drama down the stretch, and turns out I ended up really liking it the way it was set up.
Yeah, I think it was fine. I mean, they're all great holes, so it didn't really matter which order you play them. The only thing that was kind of a letdown about the whole deal was hole 18 was either 2-stroke swing at worst, I feel like, whereas the old 18, like you said, could have 4 or more strokes pretty easily with a bad air drive. So I think any shot OB went to the drop zone, and those guys are not missing from that range ever.
Sure.
But
What'd you think about the greens?
First 2 days, they weren't too mean, but that last day, man, there was some super wicked rollaways that, I mean, these guys just feel like they have to try to go for it sometimes, and they would have been better served from by laying up, even though they are the best in the world.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, what a position to be put in, right? You know that you have to, if you're going to win on the Pro Tour, you got to be making those putts. You're also scared to death to even try, and rightfully so. I mean, how many times did we see yesterday where it was just roll away, roll, and when they were rolling behind them. They were losing 30 and 40 feet in a lot of cases. Those greens are just, when it gets windy, I mean, they're already treacherous, but when it's windy, that's got to be scary.
It's fun for us.
It's fun for us, right? I was not worried about a single putt from where I was sitting, and that's not true either, man. It gave me anxiety just watching it sometimes.
Yeah. You and I were going back and forth, and multiple times we're telling them lay up, lay up, lay up. And they didn't. And then there was one layup by Callaway that I felt like was the correct play. The announcers were completely against it, but I felt like he was in the position that's what he needed to do personally.
Yeah, I mean, it happened to multiple people. I don't know that I've ever seen a day where it was that many times and the rollaways be that violent. And that place was carnage yesterday.
Well, let's talk a little bit on the ladies' side of things. We know Kristin Tattar is an absolute stud. We know how good she is.
Moving on.
But I have a few questions. Does Tattar become the first woman to reach 1,000 rated?
Yes.
Yes.
Are women at a disadvantage to reach higher ratings because of the level of competition and their current ratings?
No.
We actually just had this conversation over the weekend on a road trip to a golf tournament. No, and I'll tell you why. They would be, and this is not to sound sexist or anything like that, if they were playing the same course as the men, they would never get to 1,000 rated. They in a lot of these cases, they would finish so far behind the men that it just would not, their scores wouldn't be equitable. They would be, finishing so far behind that they just would never get there. I mean, I would say never, but it wouldn't be anytime soon. I think they're better served from a rating standpoint to continue to do it as is and let them only compete against themselves on the courses that are exclusively designed for their division, which is fair, right? There's no reason that they should be playing from the same tees as the men, but it doesn't make it ends up skewing the ratings. And maybe not skewing is not the right term, making the ratings hard to look at and hard to compare, I think.
I think that's fair.
That being said, Kristin is a star. I mean, she's so good. Unfortunately, she almost makes the FPO division boring most weekends.
Yeah, I've heard that from several people. Are there courses on tour where the ladies and the men play the same tees? Or is there no events like that?
I don't think there's one course where they play all of the same tees, and that's what it would have to do to have the same rated round.
Yeah. Okay. And that would really hurt them. I agree with that.
What about the Beast at Waco?
I don't think so. Possibly, but I don't think so. I think they play a shortened version.
Oh, they definitely play that new hole was shorter for them.
That new one was
they play different. They play a couple of different holes, so that would cancel out the opportunity of being able to compare the ratings. Now, years past, I mean, if we can look back 5, 6, 7 years ago, we probably can make that comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they weren't playing their own courses near as much then as they are now.
I have another topic I'd like to discuss. It all revolves around Rebecca Minnick, FPO player. She had some words for the Disc Golf Pro Tour about a shuttle being very, very early in the morning and how they didn't allow players to park at the premises, and they had shuttles running, but she had a tee time because she didn't play well the day before at 7:22 in the morning. And because of that, she wasn't able to get to her tee time as early as she wanted. Did you get to hear about this? Did you watch this video?
I'm pretty sure she had the first tee time on the first day, and then her play earned her the first tee time on the second day. Yeah, I watched the video. It was I don't know if it was putting her in the best light or the light she intended to be in. It is going to give her a little bit of a 10 minutes of fame, maybe. She didn't look great in the video. I pointed a lot of fingers, made a lot of accusations.
Mm-hmm.
The people who are providing her the opportunity to play disc golf, I think she should probably back off a little bit and find a better way to voice her disagreement with their decision. I don't know what the warm-up situation was. I've played some big events where you have nets, and that's it. I hate it. Getting to the course early for her meant that I guess she had to ride this shuttle. And I don't know if it was within walking distance. I don't know if she could have jumped on back into the course and played to the tee side to the deal. I think there's other ways she probably could have found to warm up. I don't know the whole situation, but I didn't think the video was awesome by any means.
Yeah. Did you get to see it, Ronnie?
I was played it for me. Yes. I mean, to be honest with you, it came across as whining a little bit to me. I understand the frustration, and I agree with Smitty. I've been to big events where space is certainly limited at best to be able to warm up at the course. But it's what she was complaining about that really was frustrating to me. I mean, I don't know how long she wanted to be able to warm up at 7:00 in the morning, unless she wanted to do it by firefly light. I don't understand where she was really wanting to do that at. But it, like I said, it came across as whining or sour grapes or something. I mean, I don't know. I paid very little attention to it, to be honest.
Some of the points she made is that she needed to be at her tee time earlier because of the new rule. Okay, 5 minutes.
Sure.
But she has to be there 20 minutes early because she was at a previous tournament and she got stroke 2 penalty strokes because she wasn't there. She was there, but then she lost focus for a few minutes. And get out of here with that. Just find a way to do it. It does suck first one going off. No matter what, it's going to suck.
Yeah, you're already frustrated from your play the day prior. You already have sour taste in your mouth. I will say that in this post, I was looking at the comments, and Holland Hanley, Holly Finley were in there saying that there's a platform for players to speak to the Disc Golf Pro Tour that doesn't just blast it on social media. And they kind of gave her that outlet and said, hey, you maybe should have gone that direction. So maybe she should have done something like that.
From what I understand about that group that they're all part of there, it's like it's there for them to talk about things Pro Tour wise, and it is supposed to stay there. Like, I think they get in trouble if they leak any of it. I don't know what the punishment would be, or, if they show you on their phone, but if they actually blast it out there, then I think there's some repercussions to be had. But I don't know what she's trying to prove. None of us can fix the problem.
There are other platforms for it. I know that social media is the easiest way these days for us to reach as big an audience as we possibly can and have the free reign to say whatever we want, but it's not without repercussion. And I wonder what those might end up being in this situation.
All right. Well, anyways, wanted to talk about that a little bit. Let's jump into point standings. And on the women's side, here we have it. Owen leads in points. Evelina right on her heels. Tattar's a close third, but has played one less event. What do you boys think about the women's side of things here shaping up?
Well, we know what's going to happen. First is a foregone conclusion. It'll just eventually happen as long as she stays healthy or nothing strange happens. Although she is leaving the States, right? Is she at Music City and then taking off, I think, maybe? Or maybe this was it. We know that 5 to 8 that are going to be at the top, and they're all right here on this list.
100%. And you're right. I mean, we think we know who will win the points if she plays enough, right? And I think that's the biggest question. Does she stay healthy, and does she stay in the States long enough to do it? If not, I mean, Owen's probably the next person in line to do that. And I think the gap, while you can't see it in the points necessarily, I think that gap's at least fairly large from those two to the rest of the field.
Yeah,
I'll give you that.
I do like seeing a few different names here. Rebecca Cox, I think she was up there at one point, but she's kind of had a roller coaster as far as her standings over the years. And I think her being a ninth is cool to see. And then is this Heidi's first real long stint at touring?
Probably
Was she
so.
there last year?
Yeah,
can't remember. I know she played
don't-
some.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing her too much. And Rebecca Cox she's been able to throw the disc like a son of a gun for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
The hardest part is keeping it in play and putting it in the basket.
Yeah. She's one of the elite throwers, and but nobody else on this list is a surprise. I mean, these are the best players in the world, and yeah, Heide Weide is she's kind of a newer name in the last 8 to 12 months, but she's good. She's really good.
Is.
Needs more spice in there. On that video.
That's a great commercial. That's a great commercial.
All right. Well, I do want to talk about some of the men's storylines, but since we're here talking about the standings, let's just look at the men's side of things as well. Look at that. This has to be AB's year. I mean, it is, right? There's been, what's that shirt, Ronnie? Looks brand new. You haven't had that for a long time.
Oh, look at the top two there. Look at the gap from Gannon Burdickhoff line, and Anthony hasn't finished worse than fourth place all season. That's his worst finish. He's got 3 wins already in the early part of the year, and those two guys are so far the only 2 players to be in the top 15 at every event so far on the Elite Series. There's a couple other guys that have had 4 out of 5 or so, but those 2 guys haven't missed the top 15 yet, and I'm pretty sure Burr hasn't missed the top 10 yet either. So I mean, they're in my eyes clearly, along with maybe Calvin Heimberg and a couple others, they're obviously 2 of the best players, and I think the elite of the elite of the elite is getting, it feels pretty narrow this year to me. I mean, it feels like the studs are really, really studs this year.
I mean, there's a few names we could have predicted on this list from the early season. If you'd asked us to pick top 10 after 5 events, we would have probably taken Anthony and Gannon and Kyle, Vinny, Matteo, Ricky. But I don't think we probably would have put Ezra, Luke Humphreys, Mason Ford, Nicholas Antala on that. Maybe we would have.
Maybe Nicholas for sure. The one that surprises me the most, and I picked him as my stinker last week just because I thought maybe it was his turn not to have a great week. But Mason Ford is one of the grittiest disc golfers out there. That dude just goes out there and grinds his way to a good score every single round. He just seems to never have a shoot yourself in the foot kind of round. And
they're going into the course for the tournament where he won. Remember, he beat Rick at this place a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Yeah,
Simon won last year, but
I'm not gonna make the mistake of picking against that Hobbit anymore, because that Hobbit can play disc golf.
That boy good.
He's very, very good. I really like watching his game too. It's so simple and it's beautiful in its simplicity.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I think Luke did something similar last year, right? He starts the years out really, really hot. I think he was leading at one point last year in the point standings. He's still in the top 10 after 5 events. And you said AB already has 3 wins. So that's 3 out of 5 events. That's pretty killer to start the year, especially when the dude hadn't ever won something like that. It's definitely going to be his year. And I hope he continues through the rest of the year, because it is super fun to watch.
Even more incredible, though, than just the fact that he hadn't won is how he's winning and who he's winning against. Paul was the last person to go win 3 out of the first 5. I caught him say that yesterday on the coverage. But I'm guessing when Paul won, he had to beat Rick. And when he beat Rick, he probably thumped Rick. But AB clutched up and won chess.com. AB clutched up and won in Waco. And this was the most impressive win by far. This thing looked like it was over, but this guy just found a way, man.
Yeah, honestly, I would always make the joke, hey, how is AB going to ruin his lead? Because he's been in the lead many, many times. But honestly, he's just turned a switch, man. It's so cool to see.
Yeah, and we were kind of chatting about this after that last round, and he's went from someone you were holding your breath waiting for the other shoe to drop to someone who's just Captain Clutch. I mean, everything was kind of going against him at chess.com, and he stood there and just put it right back in Ricky's face on 18 at Texas State's. It was the same way. You had, he was coming so fast, right? Everybody was just absolutely flying at him, and he stands up there and he bangs that putt on 17 and then sticks the island when Burr was running him down, and then had nothing going on. Even par through 12 holes yesterday, he goes birdie, eagle, birdie, 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 layup, ball game. I mean, that's it's the definition of doing it when it matters the most. And that's, that I truly believe that winning is a learned skill, and maybe he's finally learned it. And we're seeing what we've always said, that if he ever got one and could figure it out, the rest of the field might be playing for second for a while.
1,000%. Well, before we wrap up Jonesboro talk, are there any other things on the men's side that you boys want to talk about?
Ben Callaway in the driver's seat of this tournament. That dude had 2 bogeys on that course the entire weekend, the last 2 holes. That hurt him. And Ronnie and I talked about it. We both felt like he had to go for 18. He had to go for the Spikeiser. He knew those guys were coming, and he had to do it. And yeah, kudos for him for going for it. And that dude played so good. Made a lot of amazing shots. Missed a few putts. Laid up on 14 as he should not have, according to Nate Doss. But I felt like it was the right move.
I think it was the proper layup too. I don't think there was any question about it. It was like 45 feet with a, you have to lay that up there, especially with the lead that he had. Yeah, I think I agree with you. He had to lay that up.
The guy that beat him by 1 made the eagle from farther on the same hole.
But and that guy he was 3 shots down at that point.
Yeah, no.
He had no choice but to try to make that. They were in different. We talk about this all the time about situational disc golf, right? Being able to win from the lead or be able to chase somebody down and dig it when you need to dig it out. But winning from the lead can be just as hard as winning from behind sometimes for some people because of decision making. And if he would have thrown that up there trying to make it and hit it off the nubs and rolled down there out of bounds, for goodness sakes, or not get the birdie, then we'd have been chastising him for that too.
Absolutely. And then I did think that there's a lot of people complaining about a lot of stuff, right? If you watched Gannon that last round, he obviously frustrated about the baskets, which maybe 1 or 2 of them were basket defaults, but he putts so hard, and he admits it, I put too hard. But he also had several that were high or left that didn't stick, and he was frustrated about it. If there's somebody who should have been pissed off, it was Calvin Heimberg. That dude laced 2 drives, hit 2 sponsorship signs on the same hole, first round, second round, went from PJ to in the crap, no look.
Layups.
Yeah, and that, I mean, obviously he couldn't see it from the tee, but he wouldn't have done anything. He would have just picked up his bag and went.
And that's one thing I really respect about Calvin too. I mean, yeah, we call him the cyborg or whatever because he doesn't, you never see the emotion. But that dude is always steady as she goes. If you looked at him in the face, you wouldn't know if he's birdied 17 holes in a row or he's just thrown out of bounds 8 times in a row. And he's never going to complain at the end that somebody got lucky to beat him or something like that. He just he's a consummate professional.
What'd you think of his play on 18 off the tee?
He had to go.
I hated it. I hated it 100%. Did you ever see Calvin Heimberg throw super tall Spikeisers?
Oh, you mean the direction in which he went?
Oh, he had to go for it, but
I thought he was going to go down the middle. That's what I told you. I thought he was going to go for the gut, and we knew Anthony was going. He was going Heiser, and after watching Anthony, I really didn't think he was going to go around because you could see the wind kind of trying to knock Barella's out of the sky a little bit and not let it get back. I was really surprised to not see Calvin just go straight down the middle with an eagle.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I felt like that was his play. I'm sure he practiced Spike Heiser, don't you think? But that guy, I mean, there's nobody that throws it straighter and lower and faster than he does. So
it's like it's the tailor-made Calvin shot, it would seem like, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just absolutely smash an eagle with a little bit of bend to it and let it do its thing. I mean, we've seen him do it 100 times on holes far more difficult than that.
Right. So, yeah, that shocked me. Yeah. And then the other guy, Ezra Aderholt, we saw him throw a terrible shot on 14. Remember, he tried to flick it and he skipped it off the water.
Mm-hmm.
And so that had to end up being at least a bogey, I would think. I never did look back and see. But he's just one stroke out of it 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I think he might have squeezed a par out of that hole.
Oh,
you start to wonder, right, about guys like Ezra or Ben Callaway or these guys that seem that have not been able to close it out. Now, we said the same thing about Barella and like what happened once he got one done. I don't know that we see that ceiling for either of those two, but I really felt bad for Ben Callaway. I mean, I'm the biggest AB fan in the world, but I certainly wanted Callaway to at least get into a playoff, and I would have loved to see a dude that's been out there doing it as long as he has to finally to notch one up.
Yep. Yeah, I was hoping he'd pull it off. I think that'd been a cool story.
I agree.
It was neat to see Kevin Kiefer get out hot and set the pace the first day.
Yeah.
I mean, he did that fairly early. It was the top scorer for a long, long time.
Shortly after being on my channel, it's just there's something special about being on my channel than going to play a disc golf pro tour event. You guys should try it.
Well, yeah, you can fight the curse off for a little bit, but it finally catches you.
Is that what it is? That's slow down.
I hope he makes it to Music City. That's all I'm saying. Safe travels.
Want to say anything else you guys want to talk about?
Well, the PDGA announced some pretty large news today, or the Disc Golf Pro Tour did. Anybody catch that news today?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Integrity.
I think there'll be a lot of people not so disappointed that UDisc isn't the scoring app anymore, because now that they have full rights to all of the stats, there's going to be sports gambling in certain places and certain events.
Yeah. What do you think about that? I do have an opinion on this, and it might surprise you, given we all know my proclivity to get down from time to time.
Well, I think your concern is probably the first thing that popped into my mind as well. Is I don't know that disc golf is big enough people-wise, money-wise, to not have Anthony Barella have his uncle George Barella put money down on him to not win.
Yeah.
But I would just get an interpreter. Go Shohei.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously I'm always going to be, it's just my nature to always kind of look at to be the devil's advocate and look at that, what could happen other side of the coin type of stuff. And that's the first thing that I thought when someone, clued me into that was going on today. I mean, this happens in professional sports where people are making millions of dollars a year and they get the hooks caught in them, and, games are fixed. I mean, let's just be honest. It's happened from the collegiate level all the way into professionals in a lot of cases. And it's one of the biggest stories in professional sports right now with what you just mentioned with Shohei Ohtani. Disc golf doesn't have those millions of dollars in it. And the people that are out there playing, with the exception of a very select few, aren't rich. These are people that $10 or $20 or $50,000 could mean a lot too. And I'm optimistic because I love to gamble on sports and I love disc golf, and it would be cool to be able to do both, but to combine those two. But man, it kind of scares the hell out of me, if I'm honest.
It'll be fun to watch it play out. See what happens.
Yeah, I just hope they don't open it up to too many crazy bets and just keep it to like who's going to win the tournament or something like odds like that.
I hope so too, at least initially, so we can test it out. I mean, it's simply a fact of life in collegiate sports, and why is that? Because those people don't make any money.
Yeah,
it's a similar situation.
Yeah. Interesting to see how it plays out, but I'm glad you brought that up. All right, let's jump into our next segment, which is top 5. And we're going to do the top 5 holes at Jonesboro currently. Smitty and Ronnie sent me what they thought for themselves and what they thought the other would choose. We are going to do where exact spots get 2 points. If you get it at all, it's 1 point.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I won last time, though.
You did win last time, but I can't remember who took
all that
the
matters.
record off. All right.
It seems like it's all tied up to me then.
I can go back and find it. I think it might be close to tied up.
It's close. I think you had one tie. Yeah, regardless, Ronnie, you won last time. Your turn to go first this time.
All right. The Disc Side of Heaven Championship course. I know we talked about it already. My number 5. I love the hole. I hate the drop zone on it. I wish the drop zone was either not there or more punitive. But I do like the drama that hole 18 that can give us, with the ability to see a huge shot or an out of bounds. I wish it was. I'm with you. I do wish it was a little more than a 2 or 4 only hole. It'd probably be higher on my list, but I have hole 18 as my number 5.
I knew it'd make your list. I didn't know where.
Smitty did get it. That's 1 point for Smitty.
I went with hole 5 for my number 5 hole. That was the 360-foot tunnel shot, slightly uphill. Had to skip to the right. AB threw one of the most beautiful shots I've ever seen in my life on it. Just smashed, looked like a buzz down that left side that Anheuser skipped up that little hill. It's got that log that comes out to stop all the bad shots. I just think that's a beautiful hole and would be a fantastic hole on any disc golf course.
It is. And that's one that, and you're right, when we originally talked about, there's so many good holes at Jonesboro. It's kind of hard to necessarily narrow them all down. I think that one used to be hole 10, maybe. Now it's hole 5.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That's such a little sweet drag over shot for a righty backhand. That is a very cool hole. I didn't have it on my list, and I didn't have it for you, but that is a really cool
hole. My number 4. I went with hole 4. 750 foot bomb off the tee to the bottom of the hill. Then you have to just throw up the hill and just barely crest the hill because the basket's just beyond it with that. So the drive is important, but that second shot is, man, you have to have supreme angle and distance and speed control to get that sucker. That hole is a thing of beauty.
Yeah, another great hole. That there's a pond back there too. If you go too far. And yeah, you're right. The tee shot's important. They can make that second shot easier. But we saw yesterday, I mean, Barella had, I think, like 550 feet into that hole and got a putt out of it. Mm-hmm. But that is the ultimate speed control shot. That second shot. Not very many people are parking that one for the birdie. That one's a little bit of a bonus. Mm-hmm. My number 4, I have hole 17. I love the second shot mostly on that hole. The tee shot's a little bit blah. You can kind of go a few different ways, but that tight green with the OB on the left and behind it, and it's over on the right too, but a little further. But another speed control second shot. It can be anywhere from a putter from a long drive to, I think Heinberg might have had a fairway in yesterday that he kind of hyzered up there to the basket. But I'm with you. I like them holes where the second shot has to be precise. That even a 30-footer, might not be good enough to even stay in bounds, no less get your birdie. So at that tour level, for a par 4 to only be 700 feet, you almost have to add a little bit of something to it for those guys, and I think that one's a good one. My number 3, I have hole 10, which used to be hole 18. Obviously, that's a great hole on any golf course. That's a hole any golf course would be lucky to be able to have. The only reason it's fallen to 3rd on my list is because it falls in the middle of the round now, where it can get a little bit lost, instead of having a chance to play that one as the last hole and maybe either win somebody a golf tournament or wreck somebody's day.
Yeah, Smitty loved where you put it.
I did a lot.
Is that right?
He nailed it.
I think I might get you the rest of the way out, possibly.
You probably. I generally play my cards pretty face up.
Yeah, I think I got you. So my number 3, I went with hole 18. I love the fact there's two distinct lines off the tee. Both are effective. There's plenty of trouble. I do think that tree in the middle of that OB is a little fluky at times.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't see a single left-handed person play it. I don't know what they would do. Probably lay up as their only play. But yeah, if I'm with you, it's a super cool hole, and just like you said about 10, if we played that on any disc golf course, we would be like, "This is the tits, man."
Yeah,
Can we
for
say
sure.
that? Is that a bad word?
Whether we can or we can't, it's good said.
Okay, so my runner-up, hole 10, hole 18. Just something about smashing down a hill. I've never thrown down a hill into a tight tunnel only to be left with who knows what coming out. Did you see how Rick played that hole?
I didn't.
I don't know if it was the second or first round, but he just crushed a sidearm off the top of that thing. He got so far right, so far down there, but he wasn't in the middle, so the trees were staggered instead of beside each other, and it made a really difficult upshot. Supposing you got that one, did you?
I didn't have it in the right spot, but I had it on there. I mean, obviously, I know you're gonna have that on your list. I mean, it's one of the best holes on the entire disc golf pro tour. So,
Yep.
obviously,
So he got that one.
Yeah, I knew it. Yeah. All right, my number 2. I have hole number 1. What a cool just visual of that hole. You stand up there 520 feet away from a basket that's way down below your feet into a late turning gap on top of a log. I mean, just aesthetically, how cool is that hole? I would love to get a chance to play it.
It's and they extended it a little bit this year as well to make it even harder. And did you see AB's forehand into it the second day?
No, I didn't get to catch any of the early stuff on round 2. So I haven't gone back and seen that yet. I saw Calvin almost wedge it underneath the log in the final round. It was an incredible shot into about a 25-mile-an-hour headwind.
Man,
just unreal.
Crazy hole. Crazy hole. So you're number 1.
My number 1. I'm sure it's going to be your number 1 as well. The par 5, hole 14. It's a classic risk reward hole. Everybody on tour is long enough to reach that par 5 in 2 shots. There's not a single player that steps up on the first tee that can't throw it that distance in 2 shots. Can you put it in the right spot to even have a chance? Can you make the right decision when you do get a chance? And do you have the guts when you get it across to try to make it? You know, it's I think it's I think it's one of the best holes they play all year.
It is awesome. I think AB has to back off just a smidge off of that tee shot, or I think he could throw it in the pond pretty easily. And then what cracked me up on that hole was Albert Bazooka crushed one way over to the left. And they're like, what the heck is this guy doing? And then they talked about how there's no OB over there. And I texted you, this year there's not. And then 10 seconds later, Nate Sexton says, I'll give you a 99.9% that there'll be an OB line there next year, which I think there should be an OB line over there or something to keep them from doing that, because it kind of does. I guess they're still burning a shot to get over there.
Well, but the only reason I think there will be a line is because now when they do that, they're playing directly over the island holes green to get to where they're going. And I think if they don't put in a line, they're going to put in a mandatory on that last tree on the far side of the island or something to keep people from being able to go take that route. But I'm with Nate. I'm almost 100% sure that we're going to see nobody going over there next year without taking a penalty shot.
And that shot that AB threw on that thing with that red, white, and blue disc that he about dunked, I would have liked to see how high and near that thing was. That was amazing, man. That Anheuser. Woo!
Chico shot.
Catch that one, Lucas.
I did not get to see that one. So that was final round?
Baby, no, that was round one.
I think it was round one, yeah. He was there in two because he had to. He hit the very first tree. He hit the limb and then he pitched down to there, and you're like, well, what has he got? He ain't got nothing. And then you look up way up in the sky over the green. You're like, is he going for that? I was like, he can throw his whole golf tournament away right here. And it looked like it was going right in the middle.
It was close.
It was incredible. I mean, that thing was probably 80 or 100 feet in the air and turned probably just this far.
Oh my God.
It was crazy.
I plan to watch all the Jomez coverage on it this week.
Jomez was probably following that card too, round one. I might have to go back and watch that and see if they've got it from another angle that the Disc Golf Pro Tour didn't have, because I'd like to see that one from a drone shot.
Boy, they did a lot of drone shots, and I hate to admit it, but it did help on that hole 14 a couple of times. I painted the drone up until that point, but
as long as it's not moving crazy.
Yeah, it got way up high above it. They didn't try to chase the disc or do any special, but that's one time I thought the drone really helped. And then last year at Ledgestone on that bridge hole, I saw a drone shot that was, I think it was Gannon. It was ridiculous how awesome it came out. But both of them just simple, just cameras above, not trying to fly it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Right. So, Smitty, what was your number one?
No need to even share. We both knew we should have just done a top 5, not including hole 14.
Yeah, so that was his number one. Strangely enough, Ronnie did not choose that as your number one. He chose hole 10 for your number one. Ronnie got 3 points. Smitty had 2 bullseyes, so he ended up with 6 points. Did have 4 of the 5 of Ronnie's holes.
Which one did he not get of mine?
He didn't get
hole 17, probably.
Hole 17, yep.
I actually, while you were talking about that, I was kind of trying to think of what hole 17 was. I was picturing hole 16 as 17. I completely forgot about 17. 16 is the island, right?
Yeah, 17 is the one where it has the limb that hangs out.
Yeah, I know it now.
AB threw that unbelievable mid-range shot up there. But I think it was, to me, I thought it was the best shot of the whole golf tournament. It was incredible.
But when you said 17 and I was thinking the island hole, I was thinking, that's probably my 17th favorite hole on the course.
Smitty did very well with this one. What is it? Is this Ronnie just easier to read, or is Smitty not playing fair?
Well, you always send me Ronnie's list.
Now I see. It's shenanigans. No, we're generally talking about it all week.
Yeah.
We'll send, God, this hole's cool or whatever. And I, my stuff's, and he knows what kind of holes I like to play too. So, I mean, it also makes it, like I said, I play my cards pretty face up in this, and
yeah,
I'm not gonna fudge it by saying something that I don't believe in.
That's why I was so surprised hole 5 wasn't on your list, because that is as Ronnie Unruh as a hole gets.
It's a great hole. It'd be a full tilt smash for me up that hill and around that corner. But But no, that is a great hole, and that with that log sticking out to block anything low. No, that's a, and then you could blow it way by. Like Isaac Robinson was probably 100 feet past the hole. No, that is a fantastic hole. Just missed the list.
I think it's time, boys. We move into our next segment, which is the Wheel of Debate.
I got worked last week. You don't even have to tell us who won. He smashed me.
I will say Smitty did not vote for himself this week, though. So
I didn't vote for Ronnie though either.
But did he vote for me?
We got our wheel. As you know, we're going to spin this wheel, and then we'll spin a pro versus con directly after. Since Ronnie destroyed last week, the pro versus con will go to Ronnie. Let's see what we're going to have for our topic this week to debate. Ooh, with a very slow start to the year, Paige Pierce is the FPO GOAT. All right, so Ronnie, whatever this lands on, you're either thinking Paige is the GOAT or she's not the GOAT. And it's going to be close. Oh, Paige is the GOAT. All right. And Smitty, you're like, nah, she ain't. All right, Ronnie. So there is 60 seconds on the clock for you to explain to everyone why Paige Pierce is the GOAT of the FPO. Are you ready?
I think so, yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1, begin.
I think all we have to do is look at results to know that Paige Pierce is the greatest player of all time in the FPO division. You kids can have your newfangled Kristin Tattars and the boomers can have their Jorliana Corvers and Elaine Kings and all that stuff. But Paige won seemingly every event for 10 years in the FPO division. Her record, I believe, is unmatched from a professional major standpoint. And I'm sure her career earnings, while that can be a little bit skewed by the era she's played in, is also the best. But I mean, she's also, when you just look at it, she was the one player where you thought in her heyday, man, if there's anybody that can go out there and compete with the men, it's little bitty tiny Paige Pierce.
All right. Good debate. Smitty, you get the other side of it. Why is Paige Pierce not the greatest player of all time in the women's sport? Are you ready?
I am.
All right. 3, 2, 1, hit it.
It's going to be a little bit difficult by not just throwing out the name Kristin Tattar, who obviously is the greatest female player of all time currently and forever, I guess, since we're calling GOATs. But why is Paige Pierce not the GOAT? Paige Pierce was beaten up on people named Sarah Hokum, Kat Allen. So 2 players were the only 2 people she was really competing against for this whole 10 years of domination that Ronnie's talking about. Outside of that, I think that to be considered the greatest of all time, you probably have to be universally liked, or it helps to be universally liked. And Paige hasn't fit that boat, in my opinion. She comes up short on that end by far. Got me again, you mother effer.
That's part of his debate.
He didn't even. This time, he didn't even wait to concede till he was done. He conceded with 10 seconds left.
I'm out of here. That's good, Ronnie. You did well.
That's a really hard debate to have.
I think it's an easy debate. It's a hard debate to
be right.
Well,
right? How can you define it? It's still era based. Obviously, you have the 2 ladies I mentioned that each had their time where they absolutely dominated the sport. You can throw other people in there like Des Redding. I think there's no real clear-cut GOAT. But Paige did have a long time. But you're right. I mean, the field wasn't as good, right? I think. But how great is the field now that Kristin's beaten without a healthy or playing well Paige Pierce? I think it kind of diminishes what she's done a little bit. So
Well,
I don't.
I think Paige might be the GOAT. I mean,
She's definitely pound for pound the best thrower in the history of the sport.
She could compete with the men and at her heyday, and I hope she gets back to that at some point. I hope her body allows her to be back full strength, because she's the only one who actually can give Kristin a run week in and week out, I feel. And Paige just absolutely dominated when she was on her run, man. She could throw the disc so far and so many great angles. She was unstoppable.
It was one of them deals like Paige didn't win this week. What?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously.
You know?
So she's fantastic. And whether you pick Paige or whether you pick Kristin or whether you pick Des or Juliana or whoever you pick, like you said, it's all era based. It's hard to say who actually is the greatest, because all the ladies that we've named now have been so instrumental in women's disc golf.
If I had to choose right now where we sit today, now could change, of course, with what Kristin's doing. But right now, if I were to be asked, I would say Paige Pierce is the greatest female player of all time. But who knows? Maybe Paige or maybe Kristin sets a new bar. It could happen.
Well, she's about to next month when she goes over 1,000 rated.
The rating will definitely the 4-digit rating. To be in the first 4-digit rating is definitely going to be a feather in the cap for sure.
And there was a time when Paige was
so close.
Yeah, I think she got in the 990s or something.
She did 992 or something like that.
So that's fantastic, dude.
Yeah.
And didn't Paige play USDGC at one point?
She did.
She did. Yep.
I don't know if she cashed. I know that Juliana cashed when she played.
And that's another one. I mean, a lot of the newer people to the sport in the last 5 to 10 years don't know much about JK. But there was a time when she was in her heyday when they did play the same tees at all these events, where like that was one of the barometers for the men. If you beat Juliana, you probably cashed in the male division. So I mean that kind of goes to show how great a player she was in her heyday too.
And Des is in that.
Yes, Des is right there in the mix too. I mean, I think there's 5 or 6 ladies that are in that conversation. But if you forced me into making the decision, I think I would say Paige Pierce.
And we haven't even said Val Jenkins.
I was going to say, is Val in that conversation too?
Yes.
She's certainly in the conversation. I think more than all of the rest of them that we're talking about, Valerie Jenkins took advantage of a really, really weak division in her heyday. I think it was at its weakest point when she was at her strongest point. So unfortunately, it gets held against her a little bit, but probably unrightfully so.
You know who she beat the last time she won a world title?
Paige Pierce.
And Kat Allen. In Emporia.
It wasn't Emporia, wasn't it? She been Pittsburgh too.
That I don't remember.
She might have went Pittsburgh too. That might have been Paige. I don't know. Yeah, she's certainly in the conversation. You can't just because she's a terrible announcer, we can't forget how great a player she is.
Yeah. So let us know your thoughts. Who's the greatest female player of all time? And while you're at it, let us know who won that debate. I know Smitty conceded.
Just let us know who the best is. We don't care about the stupid debate.
Well, fair enough. Ronnie won. So just let us know who you think is the best female. Smitty already conceded 2 weeks in a row. We'll see if it happens next week. But let's jump into our next topic, courtesy violation. So as you know, if you want to email us a question, you can email us at wind.dummies.podcast@gmail.com, and you can send us any question you have. And we had one come in
whoop.
And the question was, and boys, I need you to focus in here because this is kind of a tricky one. Let's say player A putts, okay? His disc goes off the top of the basket, rolls down a hill, and splashes into a shallow, casual creek, okay? So it's just casual, but then it's casual, but the current's moving, and it moves the disc, and the disc ends up several feet from where it entered the water. How do you play that?
You want to take this one?
Yeah, I think I got it. Pretty sure the rule states something along the lines of once the disc is no longer moving on its own power, that's the lie. So what makes it kind of tricky is if it's rolling down the hill, that's not the power of the disc, that's the power of gravity. But we take that into account, and that rolls down that hill and it gets in the water. The second it hit the water and the water started moving it down the stream, that's where the dude's lie would be. And since it's casual, he would have two options, I think. He could either stand in the water and putt, if it's which might be what he does, if it's a 30-foot wide stream of water. Or he could go directly in line on the opposite side of the casual water, which he's probably going to have to walk through to get to if it's a creek. I don't know.
Yeah, that's how I would interpret the rule too. With that being casual, you don't have to. You'd have the option to play it where it would have came to rest, quote unquote, or be able to take it on keeping the basket between you and the spot on the other side of the creek, not the basket side of the creek. So I would be interested if the rule actually states something other than that, but I'm fairly confident that in the certified officials test there's something like that already in there. And I don't think I missed that one. I don't know.
80501 is our actual rule, thanks to our PJ Live app.
Are you trying to sell this, Smitty? Because
I love the fact that you can just go there and there's the rules.
Search a keyword too.
Yeah. I mean, and this rule has A, B, C, and D. A says the thrown disc establishes a position where it first comes to rest. Then it says considered to be at rest when it stops moving. A disc in water is considered to be at rest when it's moving only as a result of the movement of the water.
That's it right there, yeah.
So that takes care of it.
Clarifies the rule, yeah.
Also talks about a disc that breaks into pieces. Play from the bigger piece, in case you needed to know.
Yep. It doesn't happen near as much as it used to. That was a rule that actually came into play at one point on, a time or two a year, especially in the winter.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good question, though.
That is a good question.
Yeah.
And one I've seen come up multiple times.
Really?
I had an experience with one. We'll not go into details, but I was we'll just say that the rule did not play out the way it is on PDGA. Did not go by the rule book, and one of the co-hosts on the show was an unhappy camper. So.
Not me. I didn't care. Lucas wasn't there. That leaves
no
that
guy. Thank you for the question. Again, if you want to write us a question, wind.dummies.podcast@gmail.com and send us an email. Let's move into our next topic. Weekly picks.
Somebody got 3 reds.
And have a good week.
All right, let's take a look at our picks from Jonesboro. We had some stinks. Ronnie said Mason Ford.
Yes, he did.
Ooh. Smitty said Paul Ulibarri, and I said KJ USA. And let's see how things shook out. That's a top 10 finish from a stink. That's almost as bad as me picking AB.
One of you two is going to pick a stink that wins before this is over. So
It's not quite as bad as picking AB, but that stinks stunk. That's for sure.
yeah, no explanation needed on Ronnie.
Nope.
But look at me.
That's a bad.
Look at me. Ooh.
Let's talk about you a little bit.
Sure.
KJ USA finished 1.5 places worse than he has the entire year, which has been terrible all year.
Mm-hmm.
Yuli shot an incredible last round. I was rooting against that son of a gun, and he was just moving up the board. He shot a 7 down last round to finish 1 stroke worse than his average.
And I was 1.5 worse?
Yes.
Let's go.
So for the longest time, we both had a yellow because if they're shooting their average, is that truly a stink?
We can just say none of us did very good and move on to the next one.
Let's say one of us did terrible and the other two did up.
Hey, we don't have to go with degrees of not good. We'll just say we all did not good, and we'll go to the next one.
Yeah, I'll take the green check mark. Thank you, Smitty.
You got it.
All right, sleeper. All right.
Hold on.
You got this wrong.
Again?
Yeah, so
I got it right. We're okay. I got it right on the official.
Okay. So Ronnie picked Gibson. I picked Burridge, and Smitty definitely picked that huge cupcake, which is the best. Let's see how everything happened. All right, so Gibson, 61st.
Whoa.
61st with cupcake. And then Burridge was 35th. Woo. Woo.
So, yeah, Drew was actually
terrible last round.
Yep. But still, I think better. I have 6 places up. Drew finished up 6 places. So maybe is that better than his
average? Oh, that's better than his average finish so far, yeah.
Yeah. So
that's why I picked him. He hadn't had a really good start to the year. And he was, kind of hanging right around that top 20 range all week. And then, I don't know. Somebody told him his sunglasses were too dark or something. I don't know.
So then Cupcake, my dude, the guy who walks 2 rounds carrying 2 disc golf bags because he plays and then caddies, that dude had a tournament going for a while. Then he had not a great last round and slipped a little bit down to 61st. But I also gave Lucas a green because Robert didn't jump as many spots as Cupcake, but top 35 is a solid finish for the dude. So I thought that was pretty good finish.
In the money. And we've said this, a million times. In the money is good now on the on the Pro Tour. It's hard to make money. And he had a money week.
What happened to my first green check mark? It just disappeared on this slide.
Yep. Yes, so. Sorry, brother.
All right. Something's crazy's happening here. And let's look at our final, our shine. Well, there's the red. Yep. So Ronnie and I said Corey Ellis, and Smitty said shine, and Smitty did extremely well here, and Ronnie and I did not.
That's all up.
Well, here's the deal. I mean, Lucas picked Corey Ellis in front of me, and I knew as soon as he said it, my pick sucked. And I wanted to change, but a card laid was a card played, and I couldn't change.
Exactly.
And we sent Corey Ellis to his worst finish in 2 years on the Pro Tour. So
well, Lucas did.
I'm sorry, Corey.
But what about Simon? That's something we should have maybe talked about on the tournament report. Was that dude didn't know if he was going to be able to play. His back was all jacked up. It's still jacked up. He took today off from the skins match to try to get healthy for this weekend. But that dude was in it, man.
Yeah. It was cool. It was cool that he was in the mix.
What if we could get a Anthony Barella at the top of his game, engaged Simon Lizotte, a healthy Eagle McMahon, a Ricky Wysocki when he's going at his best, Isaac Robinson returning to last year's form, and somehow with all of that, get Paul McBeth to roll the clock back 3 or 4 years. If we could have this happen, it would be disc golf heaven for as long as that could happen.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Be nuts.
No doubt.
And that's throwing out all the other great players, right? Matty O, the other Robinson boy, Gannon Burr. There's so many great players now, and I would like being able to have an engaged Simon and a healthy Eagle work their way into that, where we could be in for one hell of a 2024.
Oh yeah,
it could be a great summer.
Well, Simon's going to be off tour here in a little bit. Baby daddy.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So, he's not touring the whole year.
Right.
But Eagle comes back this week.
That's right. So let's move into picks for the Music City Open. I'll go ahead and start us off like I always do. I'm going to start with a sleeper. Since we're talking Eagle, I'm going to mention Eagle. And Eagle's my sleeper. He hasn't been on tour all year. We don't really know what to expect, but he is Eagle McMahon. He's going to play well. Probably not much of a sleeper, but
no.
But you got no sample size, so we'll see how he does. No sample size for the year.
I don't like it much as a pick. I'm excited to see what that son of a gun does. He's when he's healthy and when he's on, he's my favorite. He's my dude.
Yeah, I love him.
I won't go as crazy as Ronnie and wear his jersey and have a picture of him hanging up in my bedroom, but but I think the dude's amazing.
He is.
And potentially had something that we had never, ever seen. And man, it just goes to show you that just one little thing can really, do you in. Hopefully you can snap back, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look at Eagle. Look what Eagle's injury has done to the landscape of disc golf. It's helped facilitate Anthony Barella becoming the best player on the planet right now. Maybe that's not the case if there's still a healthy Eagle.
Maybe. And I think it's also opened disc golfers' eyes to injuries are a real thing. Like we hear him take weeks off, and Calvin Heimberg would have loved to throw in a couple sidearms this weekend, and he just didn't. There's a couple times he's pitched and could have easily chipped out and just didn't do it. I mean,
and he's still good enough to win without it. That's what's crazy. He's still arguably the best player in the world without it. He's so good. Who's your sleeper, Smitty?
The son of a gun, man. I've picked him before. I picked him to go the other way, but I got to go with the beast. Eventually, the dude's got to come out. I feel like, from what I remember of Music City, it doesn't require massive bombs. I don't know. I don't remember anything from last year, but
handful of shots are, Link's going to help, but it's not necessarily mandatory. I mean, who doesn't hope that Paul McBeth doesn't return to form? I mean, it's better for the sport.
Anthony Barella.
Well, maybe.
Well, he's not as good as he once was, but he's good once as he ever was. Isn't that how the song goes?
It sure does.
Well, it's very, very possible.
Luke has got a smirk. Oh, he already said his sleep good.
I mean, we say that, but World Championships are going to be here in just a few months. And is anybody going to say Paul McBeth has no chance to win the World Championships? I ain't saying that.
I'm going to say it's a very small chance.
That's not no.
Even going there?
That's not no chance.
Okay, fair enough. Who's your sleeper?
Right. My sleeper, I got a guy that showed a little bit of signs of life at Jonesboro, was right there in the mix after day one. I'm going to go with the fairway Jesus, James Conrad. I think he's about ready to. He kind of comes to life in the summertime. I think we're about ready to see James Conrad start to be James Conrad again.
Didn't he bite you once already?
He bit me
once.
really hard. He's bit both of us. So good luck, Ronnie.
Well, I'm coming off a week where I can't get any worse. So I'll go second. Okay. My shine is I'm going to take the homeboy this week. I'm going to take the Tennessee kid, Chris Dickerson. Finished third year last year. Obviously, he's won this, not when it was a disc golf pro tour event, but he's won this event numerous times. And he's the homeboy. He's going to have the whole crowd behind him. He's going to be wearing that orange shirt, and I think we might see a Dickerson win this week. I think it's very possible.
That'd be great. He was in it this week. That's for sure.
It was
one point I messaged you. You might want to check out fourth place. So
I was fully aware of
it. He was a few holes ahead, but he was. Where did he finish?
I think 8th, maybe.
Yeah.
That's a quiet 8. That is a quiet 8. Mm-hmm. Lucas, who you got?
For a shine.
Yep.
We're picking people that can win the tournament. So speaking of showing signs of life, Isaac Robinson came back in a big way last week, and I think he plays extremely well at Music City and takes it down.
Was it just me? I mean, he's one of them guys I'm always surprised when he doesn't play well. I was surprised at how well he did not play on Sunday when he found himself in the mix.
That's true.
It was a little start. Now, granted, the conditions were extreme and it was hard to play well. But usually he's one of them guys that if he sniffs the front, all you're seeing is taillights after that. And it didn't go that way for him on Sunday.
Yeah, I just wonder. Of course, I didn't watch a lot of it, but is he not the greatest wind putter? Does his putt get affected by the wind more than other pros?
The wind they were playing in on Sunday was a great equalizer. It made everybody about the same putter. They were really at the mercy of what happened.
Gotcha. That's fair.
So he is an aggressive putter, which isn't passively aggressive is maybe the way you describe his putt. He tries to make everything, but it's not balls to the walls. But you either make them or you lay them up. Try to lay them up. That course is what I would say.
Yeah.
All right. My shine. This is it, man. He's got it this week. This dude has been in it to win it each week so far. Vendog.
Okay. All right.
Probably not a surprise pick, I don't think.
I think it's fair, though. I mean, he still doesn't have a forehand. So if he can win without, I think that's still an impressive win, right?
He's been right there, man.
Yeah.
It's still unbelievable.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Here's your stinker.
Time. Can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm doing it, boys. One of my favorite players, Matty O.
Oh my goodness.
Smitty, you're gonna hate this, but that's who I have.
Oh my goodness. Did you guys not see the last 2 weeks when Barella and Ford were picked and they just shredded all week long? Maybe don't pick one of the 10 best players on the planet to be your stink. He doesn't stink.
Oh man. The only good news about this is when he wins, I'll be happy. And I won't be the first guy to pick a stink to win because I'm guessing Lucas has him too, by the way he's acting.
Yeah, no, I do. It's That's who I have as well. So great picks, Biddy, honestly.
Oh, yeah. I've never been more confident.
Now forget everything I just said
He's picking a big dog.
because I'm taking Kyle Klein.
Whoa. Oh, we're going at it this week. Our stinks. Woo.
Kyle Klein finished 34th here last year, which was one of his worst events all year. After a week of 3 reds, I'm grasping at straws, and I'm hoping to throw a dart and it come up bullseye.
Those are the worst stink picks of all time.
It's so terrible. And what's even worse is I almost picked Matty O. I had Matty O. I can't pick Matty O. Matty O's too good. And then I went completely against that logic and picked a guy that's probably better. So, yay for me.
Well, I will say, I really feel like my picks are rubbing off on you guys, and I'm making you real dumb.
Yeah. You're not helping.
We could those definitely have the potential to look awful. Come.
I didn't have much time to do any research or looking at past tournaments or whatever. I just went off the cuff. So no wonder I had the same pick as Lucas.
Yeah, that's how I roll. That's how I roll for sure. All right. Well, hey, let's take a quick peek at the Survivor League. There's still 2 people left because last week Ronnie picked Chris Dickerson in a surprise pick, and Chris Dickerson ended in the top 10. And then, of course, Patsy picked AB, and AB won the tournament. So now we're going into Music City Open with 2 picks still on the line. I've given them who they can and cannot pick because they can't choose the same person again. And so, Ronnie, tell us, who is your pick going to be for the Music City Open?
Well, we were kind of just talking about the theme, people who are showing signs of life and maybe they're ready to hit that hot part of the year. And I really think that our current world champion kind of found a little bit last week. He didn't have a great Sunday, but maybe he's found his groove and he's ready to start charging towards that second world championship. And I think it starts this week. I am taking Isaac Robinson.
There he is. Wow, what a pick. And now it's Patsy's turn. She cannot pick Isaac Robinson, or can she?
She can get him.
Ooh. So will you have the same picks again? Find out right now as we unveil Chris Dickerson, the Tennessee boy. She went home state. And we're going to have a battle.
Patsy knows her disc golf, dude. I love it.
She picked my shine. Now, how can I possibly root against her?
Why don't you just flip it?
Oh man,
As
that's
you were
a great
picking your
pick.
shine, I was like, oh gosh, I can't wait to show that.
That's a great. I really do. I think this might be Dickerson's week. I kind of just have a feeling that we might see the old that Argyle orange out there winning on Sunday. I really think it might happen this week.
Well, we're probably sitting out again, Lucas.
Yeah, I mean,
checkerboard, I guess, not Argyle, but no,
yeah.
That's a great pick, Patsy. I thought she might go Isaac Robinson too, and I knew she had him available. I, like an idiot, still haven't picked Anthony Barella. He's only won 3 times, so just holding on to him till I'm out. Keep him in my back.
Keep him in your back pocket. Yeah, you don't know when you might need him.
It's like ending the game with a timeout. What an idiot!
All right, I love the picks though. It's going to be exciting to watch, and we're at the end, fellas. We're going to watch the 19th hole, where we're going to see maybe the shot of the tournament. And you have to let us know what you think of this shot. Thanks for being here. Boys, anything else before we sign off?
Oh yeah, I gotta say some stuff.
Okay,
Gotta
please.
give it up. Gotta give it up to Ronnie, man. That dude flat kicked the snot out of us at Harrington. He started off with a banger off the first hole, acing the first hole of the tournament, and just had a little bit of a slow start after that, but then just played solid the whole last round and just thumped the heck out of us. So that was good to see. And then the son of a gun hit another ace today in Missouri. So
I did, yeah. So yeah, that Harrington is. I mean, we've talked about it on the Oz Tour show several times. It's one of my absolute favorite places to play. I feel at home there. I play that course really fits my game for the most part, and I played really well given considering the conditions. It was pretty brutal at times out there, and it was against a great field. I mean, we had obviously Smitty in the field. We had Kansas legend Kevin Babbitt was in the field. It was the first time I've competed against Babbitt in quite a while, and when you can get to the last hole of the tournament and lay up from 20 feet and still win by 3 shots, it was. I felt pretty proud to take that one down, and then I come over here to Missouri this week, and my week in St. Louis, and I walk right out there and almost hit an ace on hole 10 at Unger Park, and then decide to go ahead and ace number 16 instead. So we coming home with some Missouri money, boys.
Let's go. And it should be stated that win for Ronnie in Harrington means that he went back to back champion. I do think he won MPO twice in a row and then MP40 this time, but that is a nice little resume there for that tournament, Ronnie. Good shooting.
Yeah, and with low score again this year, tied with Tate in Open. But I mean, I always say that's really hard to compare, right? Yeah. I mean, you can't compare that. I was laying up the last 5 holes for the most part, or playing safe, I guess I should say. And who knows how, and Tate, fought off a hard charging Keenan Ford. That dude was coming from nowhere, trying to do Keenan Ford kind of stuff, man. It's an A or an F, and it was an A that round, and he about caught him. And so it's kind of hard to compare, but yeah, three times in a row at Harrington. It's
sick.
I made a joke saying maybe they're going to call it Ronington going forward, but
oh god,
I bet Mr. Fashholz doesn't do that.
Yeah.
And Ronnie, I looked on Zillow, and there's some property available in Lincolnville, not far from Harrington. You could get one of those little castles.
I still think it's fake news. Schaefer, Mr. Jordan Schaefer's out there somewhere, and he'll know what this is about, and I'm sure he'll comment fake news.
All right, boys.
Any other tournaments you might want to talk about?
You want to talk about my play?
No, we don't got to.
I'll tell you this, man. I was in it to win it. And then I had a 50-50 putt go the wrong way. Went to my strength on the next hole, the forearm, and hit a tree dead square that should never be in play, OB. Had another one come out early. I'm in my own head at this point. I take a 5. LG makes a bomb from downtown to get a 2. Then I proceeded to go OB, because I wasn't confident in my main shot and went backhand both times like an idiot. OB. Then I got pissed. I was a grump. I feel bad for the guys. But then I just went par. Then I went birdie out. 2 tournaments in a row. Birdie out to make some cash. So
yeah, I know Saturday you clutched up. I mean, it's a spot you don't see Smitty in very often, which is 4 or 5 holes to go, and he's got to make a move to even make the money. And in both those situations, he saw an opening. Someone gave him a little bit of opening. He clutched up and finishes with a couple of birdies and goes from maybe not making the cash. I think he ended up T3 in both those events, right? So that was, that's what, that's what champions do, right? They clutch up when they need to, and he did it. It was, I told him on Saturday, I was like, look, man, a couple birdies might go a long way right here. And
we had a split going, of course. So Ronnie for me.
I will say
a little bit of my money.
It needs to be stated that you having a bad round and where you're frustrated with yourself still gets you T3, where most people, they're not even anywhere near it. So that just goes to show,
Well,
the Slamming Sunson going home without a dollar, right? So
the thing is, though, it wasn't a bad round. It was 14 good holes and 4 terrible holes.
Yeah.
So.
All right, boys. Well, that was fun. As always, everyone, please find us anywhere where you find your podcast. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on iHeartRadio. Just search the word Win Dummies. Find us there. Well, I hope we catch you on the next one. Take care of yourselves, and bye-bye now.
See you guys.
Like it's going to be AB next, and I think he's somewhere in the 65-foot range. Look like those C2 markers are really close. Oh! Come on now, young man. What a putt.
On the stripe.
Oh, that thing was hammered. That thing was coming in hot. What a putt. Right that thing goes through the pines and down the hill in the pond OB. That's go to the drop zone.